Yeah, I mean, we set it up intentionally like that. We have to uh, make it a difficult schedule, and our kids knew that going into it, that it was going to be a very difficult challenge, but one that we were going to embrace. And it was a very difficult loss at Auburn. When you're up and you relinquish a lead the way we did in the fourth. Um, there's a lot of head scratching going on, and it just seemed like, with their pressure and we had handled it so wonderfully, but we got into the fourth, and I don't know if fatigue started to set in, but we did just some uncharacteristic things for our team, and made some really poor decisions with the ball. Had two hook calls. Jen had one, Kim had one, that were lost possessions for us. So there's a lot that went wrong in that fourth quarter, and a lot of it had to do with us. But we had to learn from it and move forward. And as I always tell the kids, two things. One, you got to have bounce back ability, and the second thing is you can never get too high, you can never get too low, and we got to stay right in the middle and realize that as difficult as it was, we had to learn something from it and move on and take the lessons and apply them to Thursday night.
Do you think these road games correlate with the free throw percentage for the team, around 64%?
Not really. I don't know I got that question when we were down at Auburn with the SEC people doing the games. We're good shooters from the free throw line. We spend time on it every day. I'm not going to try to look too far into that. We've addressed it. Our players know that there are important points that we have to have. But here's what I believe in these guys, and that they're great shooters from the free throw line, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, and those in practice, pressure free throws, we always try to put them in those situations. But as far as knowing the importance of those, we get it. We know that we have to have them.
How much easier is it to give yourself this tough schedule and to go through it now, knowing that you have the veterans that you have that have been there before, maybe done road games?
Well, what's interesting is we kind of had the same group last year, that probably, we handled ourselves. We were in 7 games when we were down and had to fight back, and that's what you rely on, those veterans. And like I said, I don't know to chalk it up to pressure. I don't know to chalk it up to fatigue. I like to think that we would have handled ourselves better with veterans on the floor, because that's what you expect, but we didn't. And so Lex and Carly and Jen and Cahill and Tyra, those veterans have to look at themselves and see what they can do better to provide better leadership, better decisions, for their team when we get in situations like that. So, like I said, we all learned a lesson, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but it is what it is, and we got to move on and be better because of it, and we will.
What has the mode been like in practice?
It was good. Today we took Monday off, as we normally do, after a Sunday contest, and we watched the fourth quarter today in film, and we started with the things that we did really well. Like I said, we did a lot of really good things in that game as far as handling their pressure. We hit some shots against their zone, but we had to all sit there and endure watching the fourth quarter, which was not fun. That's my probably 5th or 6th time to watch that quarter by itself. But I wanted the kids to see it. I wanted them to understand kind of the magnitude of what unraveled and how it unraveled, and learn from it. And I think they did. It was, like I said, there were a lot of gasps, there were a lot of shaking their heads, because they know that they're a better basketball team than I think what we showed in the fourth quarter at Auburn. And like I said, we're going to get better because of it. And at some point, we can look back at this, and it's going to benefit us.
How quickly, what was the first time and the second time you watched the fourth quarter? How quickly did you go back on it?
Well, I watched it, the fourth quarter, at least twice, Sunday night. I watched it on the plane coming back, and then once I got back home, coaches tend not to sleep after nights like that. So I had another opportunity to watch it. I watched it a third time with our staff. And so I've watched it. I can tell you about every play that happened in that fourth quarter, because part of our responsibility as a staff is to try to help our kids make it right. Let me tell you, it's painful to sit up there and watch your team, kind of unravel and not be able to do anything, and it's kind of helpless feeling not being able to do anything for them. We didn't have enough timeouts to call a timeout every possession that it seemed like we were going to turn it over. And part of that was I needed to keep a timeout because as it started to get closer and the game got tight, I had to have a timeout down the stretch in case we wanted to advance the ball for a last second shot. And so we were kind of careful with using those. But like I said, at that point, I still felt confidence in our kids that Tyra and Cahill and Lex, we were going to figure it out. And we just didn't, and that was what was disappointing.
Do you have more confidence that you can figure it out? Being last year at Minnesota, Wisconsin, early Ohio.
I did. Like I said, I didn't get too. Even though it seemed like obviously they got the momentum. We came down and we made a couple really good plays, and Tyra had a big 3, and Carly had a big 2, and so it seemed like when they started to make a little mini run, then we would come back, and if we weren't getting called for a hook or if we weren't turning it over, we were getting a good shot. And even down the stretch when it was tied up, and Amanda Cahill gets a 3 that 8 out of 10 times she's going to hit, you feel good about that decision. You feel good about that shot. It just didn't go down for us. And so then you get up 3, and now it's a whole different ball game. Now your team feels okay. There's a little relief. Like now we've regained the lead. Now this stop's real important. And at that point, we probably would have called a timeout and switched up what we were doing defensively to really just hone in on Montgomery and Firking, because that's where they were going down the stretch. So, but it didn't happen, and like I said, it's a tough pill to swallow to lose a lead and lose a game like that on the road. When we know we should have won, but we're moving on. We have to.
So NC State, looking at their scoring, it seems pretty balanced.
Yes.
What challenges does that pose defensively?
Well, they're a veteran team too. They got 4 seniors and a junior in the lineup, and their guards are really, really explosive, quick. They got a stretch 4 like we do in Cahill, number 11 that can step out and shoot the 3 ball at a high percentage. She was 4 for 7 down in the Virgin Islands over the weekend. So they're going to pose some problems for us defensively if we don't get our rotations fixed, and we're not more sound than we were down, especially down the stretch at Auburn. We played probably more zone at Auburn than we would have liked, and as I mentioned, we probably, as they started kind of regaining the lead or getting the lead, we probably should have switched up what we were doing defensively. But we're going to go in and over to NC State, and we have a great game plan. And I would suspect, just because of the lingering feeling that we have right now, that our kids are going to be excited and have a lot of energy and ready to go.
I forgot to ask this a week ago. Maria only missed 1 game, and she was back. What was her issue?
She got clipped in practice, coming off of a ball screen, and I guess jarred her shoulder, and so it was pretty stiff and sore, and so we just kept her out. Played a few minutes down at Auburn, but she's just trying to regain some confidence to get back in and feel comfortable.